All right, everybody, welcome back. Basim here again, coming at you from, I was going to say the recap, but are mixing things up a little bit. We're going to change it from recaps to, I'm going to use the term beta breaks right now. I think it's a fitting term for the channel, what we're doing. You know, and this actual weekend is kind of a special weekend. This is the first weekend we actually live stream back-to-back competitions. Lots of wonderful things came out of that. Lots of not so wonderful things came out of that. And we're going to talk about that with Tyler. Say what's up, Tyler.
Hi, everybody.
And our guest, Jeff Tan, who is equally as tired as I am from this crazy weekend of climbing. So Jeff competed in both competitions, and we all know Jeff. He is one of our OG BetaBreakerz, and he's going to join us to just recap or for this beta break for this past comp weekend. All right, and so we're going to kick it off. Tyler's going to come at you, Jeff, with a couple of questions, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, man.
This is more stressful than the actual competition.
As it should be, man. You're about to get grilled. No, thanks for joining us, man. It's always like really cool to talk to the people who are actually in finals and doing all this cool stuff in our sport. Before we're primarily going to talk about the Vital comp, but quick recap on the LIC lead comp. Is that the first time you've put on a harness since the Gowanus lead comp?
Oh, wow. No, I was training for the Seco Block comp a bit. So that was also kind of a wild experience. Cool. Obviously there's no ropes with the deep water solo in the East River, but it was just fun. But I was just doing laps on stuff in a harness, and I didn't get as much of a training kind of in, like 2 weeks of ropes really is like kind of typical, but I only got like 2 sessions. So I kind of got pumped out too. So I climbed extra fast during the LIC comp, but it was a fun time. Basim was there, BetaBreakerz, Breakers. But yeah, it was a amazing comp and great people, great crowd over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and in this one, you did not defend your throne by one hold. You missed out on. Who was the actual winner? I couldn't hear. I wasn't familiar with the actual winner.
Adalia. She's
it was Adalia.
Oh, it was Adalia. Yeah. Okay. Well, so he was doing back-to-back comps as well.
She also did back-to-back comps and is just a beast of a human. Amazing, talented, and I was actually super happy that she got the high point. And I was kind of like a little beat. Yes, I guess that was on Friday. And I was just like, oh, well, it's all good. Like, pressure's off. Yeah. So I'm very content with the way that turned out.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, it's always a great show, and it's always wonderful watching you climb, which we're going to get into a little bit more.
Yeah. I want to go back to so many times that I've seen you compete. If I could ask one question about the Seco Block comp, it is what skin rash did you get from the East River?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That is a question and a half. Damn. So there's showers that were in the restroom facilities there. So I just like immediately went and like rinsed off because there was no soap. So the next day I brought soap, but it was just like, it was kind of gross. I actually came away pretty unscathed.
Nice.
But I know like bruising wise, I had a friend that like he landed basically face first. It was pretty gnarly. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
man.
Didn't
there was like
take a pretty bad fall too?
Yeah, she also took a pretty bad fall and like kind of had a small scrape on her eyebrow.
Yeah.
I think what happened was like because they're like skimming the water, but they're not like you can't filter it, so there's like wood particles and stuff. It is just a river, but kind of gnarly.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like maybe I'll be able to point to a link here, but give Basim some extra work. But when we talked to Ross Fulkerson, it was a couple weeks before that, and he was like, "Should I be worried about the East River?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I wouldn't open my mouth."
Yeah, dude. I am a native New Yorker. Like I'm from New York City, and like that is the river you don't swim in. That is absolutely like, I was talking to my friend Mikhail and he was like, dude, you're not a transplant. You know better. We don't do that.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And they did do water quality tests.
Yeah.
But it was for sure last second. They're like, we're good. And it wasn't like weeks out or like, we should be good today. And they did give people the option to do harnesses, but no one.
Yeah, but no one did it. They said that there were slightly elevated levels of bacteria in the water, but
just clinch everything.
I mean, if you don't, kind of gnarly too.
I'm glad you made it out healthy. And you dropped a native New Yorker ties in nicely. Like I want to just get into a little bit of your background, talk so that the people at home have a story to connect to the face. Your name is Jeff Tan, I assume. Is that?
That's me.
Cool. And you're born and raised in New York City?
Yeah. I was born in upstate New York in Newburgh, and I've been in New York City since I was like 4 years old.
Nice.
So a Queens kid.
Oh, nice. Queens is pretty rad.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I did gymnastics in high school at LIC High School, and also in Queens. So like started late for that, but I guess that's like really when training happened for climbing, like did gymnastics, did that for a bunch of years, coached gymnastics a few years, had a little bit of a break because I was doing some career stuff, and then found rock climbing at Brooklyn Boulders in like 2009, and or at least I found bouldering. I like knew about climbing, but I only knew about like harness climbing, and that was at Island Rock back in 2006, 2007. But then I refound climbing in 2009 at BKB when they opened up, and I went on a date that didn't really work, but you know what? Climbing stuck around. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, sorry.
You just skipped ahead to each one of my prepared interview questions. Well done. That's cool. I didn't know that you had that gymnastics background. See, I'm learning stuff too. That's super fun.
It was good. I was pretty good on high bar. So that's a horizontal bar. I for 3 years picked up quite a few skills, not much form in terms of proper gymnastics form, but for skill wise, I picked it up really quick. I was a city champion for the PSAL circuit, which is the city league. What is it? I forget what it's called, but basically, I took first on high bar back in the day and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good on, I'm not super good on rings, but I had an inverted cross on rings, and
that's pretty good.
Yeah, just really good on skills, but no form at all. But
look, it translated well for you, right? It makes a lot of your climbing style make a lot of sense.
There we go. There's the key right there, or that's the secret, the stone, the Rosetta Stone there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that again, man, you're making my job easy. That ties in nicely. I think, we all have a sense of the styles that you personally excel at, and it would be like that gymnastic style, right? Basim and I were saying before the call, like the more creative the setting is, the more I feel like you have an opportunity to shine.
Oh,
which is awesome. I feel like a lot of the people that come from a different sport background and maybe start climbing later in life, maybe have like a different perspective on how to look at boulders. I'm thinking back to Harlem finals last year when you and Austin are the only ones that found that break on that slab boulder. Right. And I guess I'm wondering, when you watch other people try boulders, is it like, or do you feel like you have a different perspective on boulders given like, I think you're maybe the only person in that finals who hasn't grown up competing in USAC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've yet to compete in that, and I don't think I ever will. But I'm like way too old for that. My perspective on like how to climb certain climbs definitely is like way different. I kind of like, I don't know, I can visualize myself on the climb and like just play through different configurations of like, or like patterns or problems, like routes, however you want to consider it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, I guess a lot of times work top down, try to figure out like what they intended, if there's any like obvious move, and then like try to figure it out from there. I don't watch competitions. I don't really like watching sports. I'm like more of I can't sit still and I have to like do things.
Right. More of a top 10 kind of guy. Just give me all the highlights and then I can move on with my day.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I think I do have a different perspective on like how to climb things. Like, and it was kind of clear yesterday, at the Vital Comp, like a lot of kids are like, oh, I think you have to like campus through this. And I was just like, why would I do that? I just like swing my feet and just like bike really hard. And then, yeah. I kind of like think on my feet pretty well too, I think. I don't know. Maybe not. Sometimes like the obvious, it doesn't work.
It seems like you and Austin share, I guess, like minds in the sense of like Austin on the Harlem Comp knew exactly what you did, and you were even trying to tell the crowd to like stop cheering.
Oh, yeah, he knew. He like heard the crowd scream and he was like, oh, they broke it. He like told me later, he was like, I knew exactly what you did. And
right. Like, right. And he did it a little bit differently. I mean, you definitely had a way more just like smoother way of going, but like you both knew that was an option. And I was wondering, you didn't talk about that during the.
No. If I see a blatant break that could be done or something like that, I'm pretty sure no one else is considering, like I'll kind of keep that to myself sometimes.
Okay. Yeah,
but
cool. On men's,
it is a compliment.
Men's 3 at Vital, your first attempt, that was the slab one, was the like, low and then try to come up. And actually, that's how we topped it. He tried the high switch, whatever, the like crazy feet, as I like to call them, and then he actually came down low. The way you had started it, but then bailed, and he started the other way, and then went to that, and then he actually got the top going about it that way. Yeah. So like, that wasn't discussed. That wasn't discussed either?
The low route was kind of. I heard him say it, and I was like, I guess that does kind of make sense. So I tried it, and then I was like, wow, my knee actually is going to explode if I do this. Okay. Just like getting up and stuff. I'm like, just not great at pistol squats anymore. But they did talk about like the hop move over, and I was like, that kind of makes a lot of sense too. So I went for that, and that obviously works way easier. That was that like everyone that climbed that climb, Vital, the men's problem 3, had like a smile on their face when they're like, oh, the hop was amazing. It was just like, you just kind of like skip over and you just like squeeze. Right. It was just like joyful. I really liked that move. It was fun.
Cool. Nice.
Cool. Shout out to the setting team. The finals boulders looked really fun. Really, like that kind of movement I love to see in a finals where it's like, you know, there is another option, but the other option isn't necessarily easier. It's just like more certainty. You know, that's my favorite kind of slab. man, I'm a fan of you. Like so I want to keep asking you questions, but like we're already on to the finals boulders. So should we, if we're already on it, let's just continue the momentum, right? If everybody's cool with that. So I watched the live stream, after the fact. I'm in Amsterdam right now. So it was like 3 a.m. for me. Yeah. That's why I wasn't there. That's why you made it into finals. I'll get you next time. So number one, pretty like, standard issue men's one boulder, I would say. Kind of like 3-on-1, 1 on the other, like stem and then jump, swing across, like cool moves. Right. I'm going to say none of it felt like groundbreaking in a finals, in a bouldering comp, like in 2024, you know what I mean? Is that fair to say? Maybe I'm being harsh on it, but
no, I mean, like there's definitely less standards, right? So the Lachey, right?
Yeah.
Is going to be in every finals, it has been, for all of last season, every single comp had a Lachey, awkward or not. Which, I mean, for Jeff is like, okay, great. So I got one down, right? Before we even started it, you were like, okay, we got one down because that's right in your wheelhouse. And
that was I don't know. I was kind of worried about that one because, like, a lot of the way that everyone else read it was kind of like running all the way down, like almost like a slab run into the side hold on the zone. Mm-hmm. But then, like, I kind of like looked at the climb and I was like, wait, what if I just skip that and just go right up? Because I don't know, explain it. The trajectory of like which way you're jumping into the wall already led you up, and I kind of like I looked at it like a warped wall or something like that.
Right, you kept your momentum, and then, so that was actually a Ninja Warrior reference there, the warped wall, and a lot of you don't actually know this, and Tyler didn't know this, but Jeff was a fierce competitor in an American Ninja Warrior. How far did you get?
I made it to finals in 2013.
Yes.
It is kind of a lot of effort to get onto the show, and it is like a huge production.
Yes.
You're like waiting in a tent for hours and stuff, and like you have to do videos, and I don't know. I was kind of into it because it was novel for me, but like after a while, it was just like, I really, really like climbing. I mean, like Ninja Warrior is super fun. It's a lot more of the parkour stuff that you're seeing in the newer finals climbs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Just like hopping over things, keeping your momentum, and like a lot of parkour influence, I'd say. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really fun. A lot of loud, super talented humans competing on the Ninja Warrior circuit. But yeah, like climbing is always like, I turned back and was like, this is really what I want. You know what I mean? So I jumped back into climbing a little heavier and made some progress with projects that I had for like outdoor rock climbing and stuff. And then, I don't know, I really do enjoy the climbing circuit. So I jumped back into this.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's better.
It is better. I kind of went on a tangent though. Or did I? I don't know.
No, that was like a succinct and interesting answer. You're doing great, man. So I'm gonna circle it back to some of the other questions that I had for you, because like knowing that you have this different background, it almost seems like the style of boulders in a finals has caught up to, or like come in a cycle around to the things that you probably have more of an advantage at than some of the other climbers who don't have your background. Do you remember when your first like boulder comp finals was?
Ooh, yeah. Well, I don't know if it was finals. There's a few things in there. There's like dyno comps and stuff, because like that's kind of not really a final thing. It's just you kind of just jump around and But like definitely like podiumed for those a lot more, and before like the actual rock climbing competitions, the bouldering competitions. But that's like more of my style, especially like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. But I think one of my first comps was like probably at like the feats of strength comps at Valhalla. Yeah. I think I made finals there once.
Oh, wow.
That's the background.
Even the apnea feats is so sick.
Yeah. Nice. That's great. But yeah, I think that was like one of my first comps that I made finals in. That was like back in, who knows, like 2014 or something like that, 13.
Yeah, I think the first comp I have you, and is actually, I guess it's the first comp in general, it was at the Island Rock. It was the Island Rock. Sienna's first comp, Addie's first comp. I don't think that was your first comp. That's the first time I got to see you, Charlie Schreiber. And like, so many just beasts. And like,
OG.
Yeah. All of
the good times. Yeah, wow. When was that? I'm curious. You can tell me later on.
2019, I believe it was.
2019? Okay, that's not that long ago.
No, it had to be before that.
Yeah.
I'll check the footage, or I'll check the previous comp, because we were talking.
Check the comments for later.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna guess that it was like either 17 or 18, just based, because we talked about it with Sienna, and I'm just doing like math of of age differences. But I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about how the most mind-blowing thing in a World Cup that we saw, 5-10 years ago, was like leaning into a toe hook catch, and like the one arm and the toe hook catch, and everyone was like, what is that? Like nobody could comprehend what they were looking at. And obviously that style has evolved 1,000-fold in the last however long, right? So, it's almost like you were like already standing up on your board, and then the wave came and took you with it. I mean, that's really cool. Like, not to discredit, I'm sure, all of the hard training that you put in to be able to perform at that level, but that's really cool. Is there I feel like I'm saying like you're the old man, but like everybody else is 15. Yeah.
In this comp, the second oldest person was like 14 years younger than I am. Oof. That's a lot. And that's Malik. Malik's 20.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my goodness. That's wild. And then like, obviously there's kids that are like 16 and 15. And I was just like, I'm aging myself out here.
Yeah. So my question for you is like somebody who has been around long enough to have seen like styles change. Is there anything that you feel like has been like a really fun change, or like things that have improved? And is there anything that you feel like you wish that we would kind of come back to?
Ooh, a lot of the OG climbers are like, so this isn't just for me, but like, they're like, oh man, there's no like just crimps on a roof and just like a hard boulder. It's all just like showy, gymnasticy, like jumpy kind of stuff, and like, or like moving to compression where you can just like see things. But like, I don't know, a lot of like the fun climbs or like not fun climbs, but like the roots, right? Like rock climbing, like actually climbing rocks is absolutely just crimps and just like doing stuff that doesn't really look as fun on in front of a crowd. So I understand what the trajectory is and like what the move to do showy bouldery problems is. And like, I appreciate it. It like brings the crowd together and it's like a fun time, but it's definitely not, the basis of like what climbing was. Right. It's different, No. Not to say that it's better or worse. Like some of the stuff I'm like, oh, come on. Like, there was like the paddle, like palm down thing. Like I never heard of that before. Mm-hmm. And then it was like in a finals climb and I was like, oh, like I had no idea what I was looking at. But yeah, like that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I actually have to do homework here.
Right. Yeah. And that's
I want to climb.
Learn movement. Like that, those, especially like the paddle coordination, like that's something that's a skill that you have to build. It's not something you can typically just like, oh, I can just do that on the spot, for the first time. It's a tricky one for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's all more props to the kids and all the training and the coaches that are like watching the videos and like being like, hey, this is going to pop up in your near future. And then they'll do like a simulation or something. And they just like run laps on this stuff. It's like, I guess that like moves to the evolution of the sport. Mm-hmm. It's really impressive that like kids these days have all these tools and resources, like besides just nutrition, just general strength training, a lot more science between injuries and like injury prevention. There's obviously like skills and like protocol towards like building and developing different moves and coordination moves and like training it. I think it's great. These kids are, not to say privileged, but like, yeah, it's awesome. It's cool to see like how this is gonna, this momentum shifts now that like it's been in the Olympics and like climbing's been in the Olympics, and yeah, just beyond that.
Yeah,
who knows?
For sure. And it's, this is the conversation I've had with other people. But like when you start talking about climbing, like most people probably don't even know this, but climbing was actually in the X Games. Speed climbing was part of the X Games. I'm dating myself back to like the first, I think 3 or 4 X Games of the speed climbing, and I was there. But like all these other sports, skateboard, BMX, and those sports didn't really. I mean, it was just like people just doing their thing, whether it's tricks in the street or whatever, the park. And then money started getting to the sport, and then Camp Woodward came out, and that's like the training grounds for anyone who wants to do anything ridiculous.
That was the foam pit.
Big foam pits, big ring.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Right, and parents would send their kids to this camp where they can train, in a safe environment. When you start talking about and then like things like that, and like all these camps started opening up where you literally can just go bonkers and try anything you want without breaking your neck. Yeah. Until you get it dialed in, right? And then like that's the climbing is kind of interesting to where I'm not saying like breaking that, but like when you start talking about the facilities and more gyms opening up, and then like a method which is like strictly just comp style boulders and like always evolving. The sport is definitely, I can see that acceleration and that growth when you start talking about training and facilities becoming available.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I actually remember the camp, like those camps with like the foam pits and like just like trampolines where you could just like take a BMX bike off a ramp and just like
go,
do whatever, or like
whatever.
Yeah. Or train like on a snowboard with the trampoline and just like,
and it's like, wild. It's crazy. Like, cause I'm literally like I was watching a video on Insta probably, and somebody did a trick that, like when you do like a double kickflip and like Tony
Hawk's Pro Skater.
Like you would never be able to do that in reality. And then like they're doing that now in real life. Like, how is that possible?
But can they do it 15 times in a row?
Well, I mean,
Did they get all 5 letters? Did they? Right. Did they collect the VHS tapes?
But it's like these facilities that just allow people to experiment, safely. Not that climbing needs safe facilitation from a competitive standpoint, but when you start talking about giving people just the resources to really get out there and try hard, is something I'm really looking forward to. Yeah.
Absolutely. Going to be interesting to see how it progresses.
Yeah.
One thing I want to circle back to is you said like something that I personally would love to see in a finals is just a board style boulder, right? And I agree it's not as much fun for the spectators, I don't think. It could be, right? Like at some point it is just like something that they haven't really seen before in a finals, and something that like maybe they also have a better understanding. Like they know what it feels like to grab small holds and like cut loose on them. So I do wonder if part of that is also, being strategic with where the setters put it in the space. If it's like the wall that people can get a good view of, like that could probably go a long way. And then, thinking from an MC's perspective, like trying to fill in the audience as much as possible on what the climbers are feeling and looking at, and giving people some perspective.
Maybe they should just hand out like, some tension training boards and say, find the 10 mil.
Yeah, find the 10 mil and then jump to it. Yeah. Or if you've ever seen like the people will put like two holds on a like wooden plank, and like you pull apart, like pass 3 of those around the crowd and let people feel what they're jumping to, like something like that. LIC qualifier this past spring, they had just a straight up moonboard problem in the qualifiers, which I thought was so cool. I thought that was so funny. I would love to see something like that. And like, let's put up the decoy finals boulder that is a decoy board set climb, I think that, and then like people can go and try it on the decoy board as like let me go try that finals boulder. Man, I've got such a marketing brain. It's crazy.
I mean, So Kilter literally just did a Kilter board comp, and I've seen a couple of them here and there.
Yeah.
You know, so like from a standardized, you can do this anywhere, anytime, any place. That is kind of out there. I know Sam Lerner Dreamer just competed in one. I didn't know about it, otherwise it would have been on Climbing Noise, but nobody told me, so no one told us. So they got a lot more love on that. But
cowards.
Yeah, like that. You know, that kind of make that happen. I think that's a really clever idea to just have that qualifying on something standardized that people can give it a try no matter what.
Jeff, talk me through the qualifier round at Vital. How were the boulders? How was your experience?
Well, right off the bat, they had like 2 slab climbs that were like top 7 climbs or something, or 6 climbs. Like the top 6 climbs, 2 of them were slab, and I was like, I'm not very good at slab. Just that's my anti-style. I just want like overhanging and like compression, which I did get to do, which is probably the only reason I made finals. But yeah, the climbs are really good. Some of them were a little bit crimpy. I'm looking back at like, I think it's 59. It was just like, Austin came over to me and was like, dude, you did Euphoria in the gunks. You'll be able to do this climb. It's like just crimped. And I was like, dude, Euphoria was like, I don't know, 2014 I sent that thing, like a long time ago. You know what I mean? Like a decade ago. Yeah. Yeah, like there was like a good crimpy climb, which is fun. Probably helped with separation of like the groups and stuff. As far as who made finals, there was, let's see, what else? A really fun one. Austin's the only one that sent it, but I was like making waves, I think. 61, a blue climb on the arch in the front. It was like kind of coordination paddly, but I was trying to like break it a few ways, and I was just like moved on. But that was super, damn. Yeah, Austin just like smashing the top 5 climbs as usual. Yeah. That dude is so strong. It's ridiculous.
6 tries, I think he was at.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh man, that kid is a rocket. He's just like going.
These to the fullest for sure.
Yeah,
I heard you just dropped a shirt collab with Bagel Boys. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, got a lot of things going on, and he's got a lot of talent, and just looking forward to see what he pops up next, what he does next, you know.
And it's everywhere. I don't know how he has the energy to be everywhere at once, man. He's like, I turn around and he's in Bishop, and he like drove there, didn't sleep because he was so psyched, you know. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, he told me about, like, I talked to him a little bit about that. We're going on like an Austin tangent, but like he did footprints. And he was like, dude, you should jump on it. Like, it's great. It's like, I was like, that's like the highball. He's like, no, it's just a V9. And then it's like V2 or 3, like up for like 50 feet.
Right. Is that like on the Grandpa Peabody, like in Bishop?
I think so. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like one of those, dude, he did it. He said he did it by himself.
Austin,
like, by himself. I mean, at that rate, you're going up like 50 feet. You're just hitting a target. Like nothing's gonna, you know. Yeah. But he did it by himself, and I was like, I've done stupid shit. Like I did like the Prow and Bradley by myself. Like no one, like text a friend like, hey, I'm over here. But like,
it's dude, not great.
It's not 50 feet up in the air. It's like 30.
Yeah. I've done the Prow. It's not that bad. If I've done it, it's not that tall. I'm very scared. But like. R.I.P. Bradley. I hope it comes back someday.
I know.
Yeah. For anybody watching from far away, it's a climbing area in Connecticut that lost its access because people were overcrowding and not really respecting the space, in addition to some other things about land usage and stuff. But reminder to everybody to please respect your local crags and don't go out in big groups and pick up trash, even if it isn't yours. Yeah. And pay attention to parking signs. Don't park where it's not allowed to park. That's
carpool, leave no trace, and just be a good person and like conscious of what you're doing. You know, it's a privilege to get to these areas now.
Yeah. And like in our area in the Northeast, like we have lost that privilege in a couple places, like the Godzilla boulder, like so many incredible climbs on it, gone in one season because people couldn't pay attention to the no climbing sign. Bradley was open for a long time, and that was more of a slow burn. But you know, if you're somebody who knows about an area, like remember that you're the Lorax for that area. Like you have to be the one to speak for it and like, you know, ask people to respect the space. And I miss Bradley. Whatever.
So do I.
Yeah.
I was on my to-do list.
And that's like that ties us back in nicely. Let's talk a bit more about the comp, because that's a very, like, I would say compy style boulder outside, where it's like one big like pogo dyno kind of move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So qualifiers sounded fun. One thing I'm always trying to be aware of is layouts of the comps. Did you feel like there are any long lines for the boulders that could have been avoided?
No, I think I paid attention to the slab climbs earlier, and it was just like everyone's queuing up, and over the years I've just figured I know I have to do these climbs, and I just wait for the lines to die down before I go over to there. But yeah, I don't know. It's just spreading, it's a trade-off, because you might see some data that you wouldn't come up with yourself. But at the same point, if you see a crowded area and it's going to take you half an hour to get on the wall, that's it's a sixth of your time there,
Yeah, I don't think the lines were that long. I mean, there was that one section that was to the left of the slab sets, because I think it was 56 and 57. Those are the slabs that you were. And then that little alcove, there would be a backup there because of the kind of crossing of those climbs. But you didn't have to worry about that, because I don't think there were any high scoring climbs in that section. So
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. I think as far as the open, I can't speak for the other climbs, but the ones that matter for open climbing, I don't think there was any crazy queues or anything, or a really hard boulder next to a slab crossover, which is usually the end all for my mentality. I'm just you're just standing there. It's 10 minutes and I got to get this climb.
Yeah. And I always say if you're going to set slab, make sure that people can't rest and be comfortable.
Oh yeah.
Because that adds so much more time to.
It really does. Yeah. I mean, shout out again to the setters over there. They did a great job. It's a hard week. Think about it. You're basically ripping all the holds off and starting anew for a whole gym. It's really impressive that they do that. Yeah.Atre and Brendan, all those. Yeah. Sam Gardner, all those boys, just they get mad props for that. That's a lot of work.
Shout out to the setting teams. I mean, Basim followed around the Harlem setters for a week before the Harlem comp. Documentary TBA.
On the way.
I've been behind the scenes for quite a few of the feats of strengths, and it is thank this. Next time you're at your gym, thank the setters, thank the managers who every detail that you don't notice, things like lighting, things like making sure that Basim is there to live stream, things like the sound system and getting a DJ, all these little things are just so much work. Crowd
control.
Yeah, crowd control.
No, it's a lot of work. My God.
And this is their second comp, so. It's funny, you can see lots of lessons. For me, I was the first one from start to finish, second. And from a lighting standpoint, they just one more spot they could have improved, right? For the three, there was literally lights coming from one side.
Oh yeah.
Shadows. But they set up an entirely, really, I'm guessing, expensive lighting rig for the other problems. And it was, as opposed to having a whole bunch of lights on stands like they did the previous year. So lessons learned. And Tyler's saying well, been there, done that, because Valhalla's been doing it forever, right? So they're everything about but when you're talking about learning lessons year after year, they learn pretty quick, right? So it's tough. And shout out to Jackie. Jackie was running the whole show. I'm sure she's still sleeping right now.
Yeah, right.
Because that was a very, very long week for her. So it's a lot of work. Sure.
Let's keep talking about finals, because the boulders were exciting. We touched base on one that Lachey, you had kind of your own opinion, and it's really interesting to hear you talking about how you visualize the direction of your momentum and stuff. I would love to, if you have more insights like that on the other ones, that's the stuff that people love to hear. Number two was more of that bigger hold compression stuff. Can you talk us through that one?
Yeah, I'm still a little disappointed in myself for not flashing it. I climbed up and I fell matching the finish hold.
Yeah.
And I was just I mean, you don't get credit for that, like that's just the game. Yeah. And if I have to climb it like 2 other times to get there, it also like knocks away your ability to climb other climbs later on,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a super fun climb. Showy, like, I don't know if anyone, like whoever's watching, like, basically like,
we're going to show a video.
Yeah. The scene we'll cut to a video of it. So
just cut it in. Nice. Yeah. Epic, like left hand crimp, jump to a right hand crimp. You're facing the crowd. You swing like either a double bike or a bat hang, come in, to a pinch head foot match, heel hook bump again. Like it was just wild. It was really like that kind of climbing is actually where I excel at. I was talking to Austin. He was like, yeah, dude, that's your style of like climbing really. Whereas like, he said he was more outdoor, but like, I think he's just a beast anyway.
Yeah.
But, there was a lot of different approaches as far as like people talking about that climb. The other competitors, they were like, oh man, do we do a double bite? Like there was a little, not confusion. And then I think Malik he told me that he tried to cross move and like, he said that made it easier, but I don't know.
Well, Malik crossed because he told me because his left, when it comes to crimping and like kind of holding that, like he said his crimp strength wasn't there on the left to be able to do it as intended. So,
yeah.
And that's kind of part of the game, right? What's going to work best, for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You got to like cater the climb to your body too, So like that's a good instance of that, like adapting and changing towards that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like it was a super fun climb. I really liked the like sneaky toe hooks you could do. I'm pretty sure like I don't know. I just did it a little bit different. Actually, I haven't seen the other guys compete. So, but like I don't know, just it's cool. When you're climbing a climb and you're just like, okay, it's like I pop my foot out, I'm going to swing out violently. And then you just like recycle holds in a fancy kind of way. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good answer, but yeah, it was just a really fun climb. Some people were like struggling on like the pinches that were like kind of downward facing at like maybe 15 degrees or something like that. But yeah, just really fun climb. Different approaches that you could have done through the whole thing, and I think it was really well set. Yeah. I wish they put a screw on the finish hold so I could have sent it. But I'm just kidding. That's my own problem. Yeah. I got to get better at pinching.
The only top was Austin, and he, I believe, approached it exactly the same way you did, and then realized it wasn't going to happen, and then he made a huge adjustment before he went for the match. And then he was like, and he was comfortable. Like it wasn't like I think he got the match, and then he let go with one hand, and there was something about body position that they were looking for on that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Like simply clamping on.
I threw my foot on the sidewall, and I was like laying back on like extended arms, and I was like, this isn't working, and I just peeled off, and disappointment washed over me. It was a really good set.
And it's interesting, like I don't if you guys watch, watching the videos and watching other climbers, you'll notice that Jeff is very deliberate in his movement, and it's actually really cool to like watch you just like boom, boom, and it's like a rhythm to the way you climb, and even looking at the ropes comp as well, you can see that Jeff is not here to second guess what he's doing. He's just like, get to the top, and we're going to get there. We're going to do it. And like, I made this decision. I'm sticking with it. And it's, it's very, very tough to do that. And
thank you.
The placement has got to be perfect every time. I mean, it really is every time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That is for better or worse, because sometimes I'll get like fixated on one approach and I don't realize there's an easier way.
Right.
But at the same point, it's like, you only have so many burns. So like, on like a boulder comp, like I knew going into like problem number 2 that if I like burnt myself out on that, I'm not going to have anything for like the following problems. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I like deliberately like, while like looking at the clock, and then like kind of like look at the crowd, just like interact a little bit, burn my time, and then just like be like, okay, I'm just going to make sure I can just get one more good burn on here without like pumping myself out.
Strategy.
And it's fun, like just keep it interesting, keep the crowd moving, and like enjoying the show, you know. But also, yeah, I guess I'm a little sneaky with that. I'm like kind of like taking a little break.
But you know what? It works out well for all of us, right? Like, thank you for being an entertaining finalist. I was going to say not being a boring finalist, but like, you know, I don't want to put down the rest of the finalists. You are exceptional, is what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Crowd favorite for sure.
Oh, thanks. I just like having fun and just like sharing that and just like spreading joy and just like not taking things too heavily seriously where like, I don't know. I guess back in the day, I've seen like kids in the crowd and like, if you're like throwing your shoes because you're getting pissed off because you're not climbing something like that, what is that conveying to these kids, you know? Like, oh, you know, this kid I went to watch just like flipped out and threw the, you know, like that's not what we want to spread. We want to have fun.
Yeah.
Like people want to see authenticity and people want to see like genuine reactions, but also you bring it like, that's a great point of like, you know, if you're in finals, kids look up to you now, like, you know, full stop. And if they see you throw your shoes, one of them is going to throw their shoes because they think that's what it means to try hard. Rather than it being like an authentic display of like what they're actually feeling. It's nice to hear that that's something like you keep in mind, you know, like being a role model in a sport. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of changing shoes, you did change your shoes at some point in the finals. That I was like, as I was going and watching the boulders, what happened there?
No, I wear different pairs of shoes. I wear mostly Unparallel. Their brand of shoes. They fit my feet pretty well, and the rubber's pretty good. Just that last climb, I wanted something that had like a good toe hook on there, and like I have a pair of shoes I didn't really break in yet, and my feet hurt. But it was I don't know, that was a gnarly hand foot matched toe hook on the start of men's problem 4, and I don't know, those shoes have pretty good toe, and it worked. But I don't know. I like having like, even outside, or especially outside, like having a different shoe for a different instance can mean a lot, especially if you have like the nose of your, like if your feet are like so crammed in the shoe where like the knuckle of your toe is like pushing out past the actual point of the shoe, you're just going to like can opener your foot off the hold. Does that make sense?
Yeah, trying to dig down,
Yeah, so like for people that might not be visualizing it, like this is the hold. Sometimes your shoe is so small that it like curls back, and then you try to step, and this knuckle will like push your foot out from the wall.
Exactly. Yeah. So cramming your feet in like the tiniest of shoes isn't the best, but like different shoes have like different, you know, like I remember doing Suspect Device in Bradley again, but yeah, like I had to change my left shoe because that way it like fit into the little letter slot foothold, and like I could actually make the move. But like, you know, not all the shoes are made the same, and like, you know, you have to like diversify a little bit, at least for me. You know, like especially at the higher end climbs, you're just like, oh, I need a really good toe hook, and like this pair of shoes works really well, but this doesn't. You know, it's just how it goes.
That's awesome. I'm in your camp. Like I like to keep a bunch of different options with me. Just like an interesting interview with Matt Foltz years ago. He was saying like I used to keep like, you know, all these different pairs of my shoes, and then I just forced myself to only keep one pair so that I had to learn to be adaptable, like to adapt my footwork to like what's going on rather than expecting the shoe to do the work for me. And there's like it's interesting. Like it's an interesting philosophy. I think that there's, you know, truth in both of like, you know, use the tools that you like it's like forcing yourself to never full crimp. Like, like, or you could like full crimp and be good at full crimping too. Like, there's a lot of schools of thought, but it's interesting. I was just curious if there was a shoe rip, if there was a like tactical thing, or you're just like, I bled through this one, you know,
no,
just an idea.
Inched it up. I thought, cause that shoe has a good toe and heel hook. So like, I was just hoping that I would make it a little further to like the zone. But it didn't quite happen. But yeah, I don't know. Shoes are important, and figuring out what your game plan is also pretty good. Like sometimes for like slab climbs, like a pair of sneakers. Not that you should be wearing sneakers on a wall, but like if you're running in something, if you're running in like approach shoes on like the typical like Super Mario jump kind of thing, like if you're wearing downturn shoes, your feet are gonna not perform as well, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of the new designs on they'll have the comp shoe, right?
Yeah.
It's geared towards that comp, and there's no, I guess, midsole.
Much flatter, much bendier.
Yeah, so you can.
Yeah, it's important, and like it's just different.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very interesting.
Good observation.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. We touched base briefly on 3. That was that little like slab hop across. Was there anything else about that boulder that was like interesting you want to touch base on? It looked really cool. I liked seeing people do it in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. No, it was super fun. I didn't do apparently the V1 foot swap is what Sam Gardner said.
Okay.
But I don't, he was like, dude, it's super easy. I was like, not when you're under spotlights and like the pressure's on. But he was like a little disappointed in me. I mean, whatever. I'm a little
Sam is the ultimate sandbagger. Like,
no, he's great. He's great. I've known him for quite a long time, and he's a very talented person.
He's so nice. He's so good at climbing. Yeah. But
that's very, very talented.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. But I didn't quite make it to zone, and a few other people didn't. But the paddle to the palm press kind of thing. Like they were going for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still need to get one of those in finals. I haven't quite made one of those moves yet.
And so this will be an interesting thing for the people at home. Is that something that you'll now try to seek out in your training? Is that something like that's on the list of things for you to work on, or are you more of a I'll get it in the next one kind of vibe?
Yeah, I don't know. That's like not something that pops up very often, does it? I don't think that's like geared towards the typical climbing clientele, especially at like Vital or like the Cliff LIC. Yeah. Although, I mean, I may be mistaken. Like a lot of times we'll set stuff in like a comp wall area, or like there's a lot of like training being set up for like the comp kids. You'll see it. So like, it'll probably pop up, and I'll like test the waters a little bit. Mm-hmm. Try to learn some new moves.
Wander into method, you'll come across it pretty quickly.
Yeah, if you make the trek to method, they've got one of everything when it comes to like that comp movement.
Absolutely, those guys are great, and the kids are super nice, super talented, and it's always great to see them at comps. And method is just an amazing climbing gym.
The female podium was
in Jersey.
Method, right? So we had
So we usually also recap who else was in finals. We didn't get to it on this one. I'll run through the list quickly. On the men's side, we had our very own Jeff the Monkey Tan, and then Malik. Do you pronounce his last name Mo?
Mo.
Yeah, Malik Mo. Alex Leslie in 4th, Demetrios Grabsis in 3rd, Ori Lesham in 2nd, and Austin Hoyt in 1st. We love Austin. And on the women's side, we had Francesca Hine, Sabrina Levine coming in at 5th, Suveen Park in 4th, Sienna Perez in 3rd, Adalia Koo in 2nd, and Jolie Chi in 1st. JoJo, no surprises. I don't think anybody looks at those names and is like, what? Like, pretty staple names. And then
the female side, though. I mean, so like the male side, we had a couple of Malik is this is his second finals he's made. He did the Boulder Fest one, so like Malik's creeping in. Alex, I've seen him grinding for a very long time. I think he's Brooklyn Bouldering Project, one of the coaches there. And, he's always there and always kind of missing. Ori, I haven't really seen him, even just like from a qualifying standpoint. So it's very possible that he should. Is he Vital?
Bouldering Project.
He's bouldering
mostly, right? I think. I've seen him around though a lot. Very talented, really good at compression moves.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Super strong. No, it's cool. Really talented.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone there, that whole list, like everybody.
It was good to see some new faces.
Newer faces, yeah.
I mean, the female side is, other than Adalia, is it?
Adalia,
yeah. I mean, she's amazing. She's great.
Yeah, no, she's clearly strong. She's back podiums. I mean,
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So and for context, the people might notice a pattern. She also was in the LIC lead comp the night before, along with you, and won. So yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. To see both of you go back to back like that is really awesome. Yeah. And then for the podium spots, the way we ended up was our very own Betabreaker Dimitri in third place, Ori Lesham in second, and Austin in first. And then on the women's side, Sienna Perez third, Suveen Parks second, and JoJo Chi in first. I'm going to say, no surprises for them. I have a lot of, I always have a lot of thoughts on their climbing and how incredible they all are. I've just been so distracted by actually hearing Jeff's opinion on everything,
we talked about the most time last
we had Sienna Perez on our last episode. Go and check that out. Super interesting to hear. Yeah, she's great. And I loved hearing about her experience, like traveling to youth worlds and climbing in like Russia, China, like Korea, like all these incredible places. All the way to Texas for youth worlds. Isn't that incredible? But yeah, I don't know. I was the only one who wasn't there. So do either of you have like any standout moments you want to throw in about the women's finals?
I thought the women's set was tough. Like, I mean, for everyone to make the podium, nothing was given. Even, we started talking about these beasts, JoJo, Suveen, and Sienna, super struggle bus, right? I think JoJo was the only one to top women's 4. Sienna, was it Sienna? I think Sienna came so close to almost getting the top on that. I think, once again, women's 3, that slab was the thing. I think it was just JoJo who got the top. I don't remember when 2, I was having technical difficulties struggling with camera and stuff. So like 2 was like all about just making sure that we had a shot somewhere, and 1 as well. Like there were some really, really tough, like there was for women's 1, there was starting with a toe hook. A lot of the females had a hard time just getting established, like just getting the toe hook and finding a compression. And then like paddle out to like it was a paddle dyno, like to a big catch, 1-hand swing. I mean, it was a super like showy move, showy climb. A lot of people had a hard time just getting to that paddle. Like forget about the paddle, like just starting. I think Sabrina Levine had a very tough time just getting started. I saw her just, a lot of them did, but like I remember like Sabrina was just like, let me just get on this thing so I can get going, kind of deal. Yeah, like it was great. I thought the climbs were really cool. All got topped at some point, but definitely I don't think there were any flashes. I don't think any of them were flashed. And it's very possible that JoJo flashed or Adela flashed too. But like I said, for me, it was just like struggling with just technical difficulties. So I'm not really sure on that. But yeah. I think the standout moment was JoJo getting 4 for sure. That was a kind of a big deal, and it almost happened in tandem with Austin getting his as well. And that's always the one thing I was kind of disappointed on. And I don't know if for those, and I'm not being critical or criticizing the setting team because they have a very hard job to do. But if you can actually watch, I have the recording of Vital Volume 1. All of the climbs were in the same spot, which is typical for a comp. But all they did was for 1 and 1, they just swapped the male and female where they were, and 2 and 2 swapped and then 3 and 3, like literally just swapped sides. But on 4, they didn't swap the female to where the male was for the top out. Would have loved to seen a female with that top out climb. I love Austin. But we saw Adam, his twin, and top that out last year. The only top, and it would have been really cool to see that, or at least get 2 top out somewhere. I don't know, but that was the not even being critical. It was just damn it, it would have been nice to see that swap continue throughout the entire. Because I didn't notice that because I remember from a camera standpoint, I'm like, oh, this is easy, same setup, just Men's over here this time and women's over there. And it was just, same, it's just swapping around until the last climb. And I was like, And, they made decisions, and still a great show, some really amazing climbs, and no, not being critical.
Hey, there's a difference between critique and feedback. And I think that's good feedback.
Okay.
Was it am I wrong? Have we been going for almost an hour? Is it? I don't know how long. Yeah. So, I don't want to take up too much of Jeff's time. I just want to ask, like, any like fun stuff you have coming up? You have any climbing trips or anything going?
Goodness. Climbing trips. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I might, I'm actually, my fingers are kind of messed up. So I'm going to start doing like a rehab protocol for maybe like a month or so.
Gotcha.
Probably not do too many comps because, my fingers they're pretty bad. They're like hot dogs. But yeah, I'm gonna probably rehab a little bit and then try to get ready for like hopefully catch like a November, December kind of session, or maybe like train up for the spring.
Okay.
And if that doesn't really happen, maybe I can make it to Waco or Rocklands, both of which I haven't been yet. But yeah, that's kind of like a goal long term. Okay. Just like get there, try to get there before I'm 40.
And there's no rush for the comp season because I'm looking at the calendar, and things are going well into 2025. Like, we're talking April, May. So plenty of time to compete. Like, it's not crammed into just November and December anymore now, into a little bit of January. It's like, it literally goes. I think this is really, from a just progression standpoint, where it's like an all year round thing, just comps. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. It keeps it interesting, and like,
and everyone loves watching you. I mean, I love.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, maybe I'll break my own what I'm saying and just like go compete in like 2 weeks. Like, oh, my finger feels great, just like the typical rock climber thing. Like, oh, it feels great. It looks like shit, but it feels great. Just like
the tape on fix, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Basim does a great job of linking everything in the description, but where can people find you online?
I am Jeff D.A. Monkey on Instagram. It's basically it. You just reach out or whatever. I climb at Vital, LIC, GP81, kind of all the places. I bounce around the city, metropolitan, the like tri-state area kind of. Reach out or just drop by, whatever.
Yeah. Drop them a follow. Keep up. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Like, I've really enjoyed getting to know more about your history of climbing. It's like, I've known you from like seeing you in finals and emceeing and that kind of stuff. But like, outside of that, I don't think I've like talked to you past that. So it was really cool.
Well, here. Yeah, it was great. And obviously we can do this again or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was fun.
And
great time.
For those of you who are wondering, like, typically close out with the calendar of upcoming events. It's in such flux at this point that you need to just subscribe to the channel, and then you can see everything that's coming up. So, or if you even want
Climbing Noise
further outside, check out climbingnoise.com. See, Jeff knows. He knows where to go. Check out climbingnoise.com for all the comps, regardless of whether we're live streaming them or not. The goal is really for us to ultimately be live streaming every single thing you see on Climbing Noise. That's work in progress. Help us get there by subscribing and supporting the channel, and we'll make that happen. All right, so enough of the plugs here. Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Thank you for being part of the crew, the team. And rest up, and we really hope to see you soon. Tyler, thank you again from your European
international correspondent.
The 4 a.m. climb. Talking about climbing.
It's only 10:30. We're good.
It's 10:30.
Not too bad. Oh. Yeah, it's 6 hours ahead. Not too bad.
So you can watch the live stream because it was like.
All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I catch up the next day. Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Thank you for your time. We'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later.